Ladies and gentlemen, gather round, because today we're talking about a tiny German car that packed more engineering into its two doors than some entire countries fit into their economic plans. It's a car so clever, so unintentionally stylish, and so tragically doomed that it makes you wonder if post-war Germany invented hipster minimalism decades before Berlin got its first vinyl cafe. I'm talking about the Gutbrod Superior 600, an elegant microcar that was more ambitious than most politicians and only slightly better at keeping its promises. Before we dive under the hood, or rather into the puddle of oil near the curb, a heartfelt thank you to all the sponsors of this channel. Without your support, I'd be reviewing forklift manuals in my cousin's basement, drinking decaf from an ashtray. But thanks to you, we get to explore the micro marvels and metal misfits of motoring history. You legends keep the wheels turning and the engine barely coughing. Now picture Germany in 1950, rubble, rationing, and way too many people trying to get places on bicycles that looked like they'd survived both the war and a bad marriage. Into this chaos drives Walter Gutbrod, son of company founder Wilhelm, with a vision. A car for professionals. Not just any people's car, but a refined little machine that whispered, "Yes, I own a tie," and "No, I don't fix tractors in it." The Gutbrod Superior 600 was born not out of necessity, but aspiration, something between a microcar and a middle finger to mediocrity. The story starts with a wooden mock-up shown in 1949, a sort of IKEA preview of things to come. By mid-1950, Gutbrod had rolled the first real cars out of a new plant in Calw. The name Superior wasn't just branding, it was a callback to their 1930s standard Superior, designed by Joseph Gans, a man who absolutely deserves a biopic, ideally played by Daniel Brühl in tweed. Unlike the flood of bare-bones bubble cars hitting the post-war market, the Superior aimed higher. Its rivals were not the cheapest scooters with doors, but proper four-seaters like the VW Beetle. And yes, that boldness would eventually be its downfall, like wearing a tuxedo to a barbecue and wondering why no one wants to sit next to you. While the sedan formed the bulk of production, about 6,860 units, they also made 866 wagons with help from Westphalia and even a rare few roadsters with coach builder Wendler. That last one looked so sleek it could have been parked next to a Porsche without blushing, until you tried to overtake a cyclist uphill. Sadly, only a dozen of those were built. Priced at nearly double the sedan, they appealed mostly to rich eccentrics or people who lost a bet. In total, Gutbrod made 7,700 Superiors from 1950 to 1954. The first year was slow, just 616 cars, but 1951 saw over 3,230 units leave the factory. There was even a flashy Beau at the Paris Motor Show, but by 1953 the economy was growing, and with it, expectations. Customers with 5,000 Deutsche Marks didn't want a posh microcar. They wanted a real family sedan, preferably one that didn't require two-stroke oil at every fuel stop. A last-ditch attempt to stretch the Superior into a four-seater failed, and in April 1954, production quietly ended with just 55 cars built that year, probably while someone unplugged the factory coffee machine. Now, what makes the Superior 600 so special isn't just its history, it's what was crammed under its tiny hood. At a time when most microcars were barely more complex than a potato, Gutbrod packed in a liquid-cooled front-mounted longitudinal twin using Schnürler loop scavenging developed under Hans Scherenberg with Dr. Adolf Schnürler Consulting. This 593cc motor churned out 20 horsepower at just 3,250 revolutions per minute, enough to get you across town, provided you didn't mind making new friends at stoplights. By 1952, the 663cc 700 arrived, 26 horsepower with a carburetor, or 30 with direct injection. Production of the injected 700E began in September 1951. Yes, you heard that right. In 1951, Gutbrod introduced the world's first gasoline direct injection production car. Take that, Mercedes 300 SL. The system was co-developed with Bosch and overseen by Hans Scherenberg, who later joined Daimler-Benz, taking his talents and probably a very smug grin with him. The Superior's injection setup didn't just boost power, it also slightly improved fuel economy, dropping to about 7.0 liters per 100 kilometers. Only around 300 of these fuel-injected Gutbrods were made, making them rarer than a neighbor who minds their own business. Most cars sold were the simpler carbureted versions, with a conventional single carburetor, while the injected cars stayed rare. All power was sent to the front wheels through a 3-speed manual gearbox. Originally, this transmission came without synchromesh, meaning double clutching wasn't a hobby, it was survival. From 1953, only the 700cc versions gained synchromesh on second and third. 600 stayed stubbornly non-synchro. Underneath, the Superior hid a technical marvel: a tubular steel backbone chassis, independent suspension all around, double wishbones up front and a swing axle in back, and 4-wheel hydraulic drum brakes. That's right, some modern cars don't have that many features. Ride quality was reportedly weich gefedert. Soft-sprung, though after 20 minutes at 90 kilometers per hour, passengers often reported deafness and spiritual awakening. Dimensions? Think of something smaller than a Beetle, but slightly taller than your Pride after buying one. The Superior was about 11 feet 7 inches, 3,580 millimeters long, 4 feet 9 inches, 1,400 millimeters wide, and 4 feet 5 inches, 1,370 millimeters tall. Weight hovered around 1,565 pounds, 710 kilograms for the sedan, a bit more for the wagon. With a top speed of 100 kilometers per hour, about 62 miles per hour, it wasn't going to win any drag races, but it could climb hills with surprising confidence, and a cloud of 2-stroke smoke that doubled as a mosquito repellent. But here's where Gutbrod really flexed its quirky engineering muscles. To save on tooling costs, the fender pressings were designed to be used diagonally, left front equals right rear, and vice versa. Same with the hood and trunk lid. You could almost reassemble the car blindfolded, assuming you didn't mind the occasional backwards panel. Now let's talk style, because the Gutbrod Superior didn't just show up to the party in sandals and socks like my Uncle Carl. No, this car tried to wear a bow tie, even if its shoes squeaked. The cabrio limousine body had a gently rounded, almost pontoon-style silhouette with integrated fenders and a charmingly upright posture. The sedan featured a rollback canvas roof, perfect for catching both the breeze and the occasional bird dropping. The wagon variant built by Westphalia added a practical twist, but it was the rare Wendler-bodied roadster that really flexed the fashion muscle. That thing looked like it wanted to race, flirt, and park dramatically, all at once. Inside, the car balanced function with a dash of flair. While early models had rear-hinged suicide doors, Gutbrod wisely switched to front-hinged ones by 1951, possibly after someone tried to exit too enthusiastically at 50 kilometers per hour. Luxus trims brought 2-tone seats, chrome trim, and even a dashboard clock, so you could time how long it took to get stuck behind a milk truck. In 1950, a Gutbrod Superior Luxus sedan cost about 4,680 Deutsche Marks, equivalent to roughly $1,015 at the time, or about $13,000 to $4,000 today when adjusted for inflation. Not cheap, especially when a Volkswagen Beetle with its 4 seats and growing dealer network could be had for just a few hundred marks more. That gap closed further as production costs forced Gutbrod to raise prices mid-run. Suddenly, that little 2-seater didn't look like a bargain. It looked like a conversation starter with an expensive oil habit. As for auctions, the Gutbrod remains a rare sight. When examples do come up, usually restored sedans or wagons, they command modest sums compared to their historical significance. Recent sales have hovered around 10,000 to 20,000 euros, $12,000 to $23,000, depending on condition and trim. A confirmed auction sale at RM Sotheby's or Bonham's hasn't broken records. But if a fuel-injected 700E ever crossed the block in Concours condition, you can bet collectors would notice. But the Gutbrod Superior 600 remains one of the most innovative and underappreciated cars in automotive history. It was ambitious, over-engineered, and stylishly odd. It aimed to give post-war Germany something better than basic, and in doing so, it created a car that still captures the imagination of those who value forgotten genius over mainstream success. Oh, and before you dash off to hunt one down on eBay, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And may your spark plug plugs fire true, your neighbors stay quiet, and your vintage dreams never come with surprise rust.